Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Aspiring Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Hamza Chowdhury. Welcome to today's daily recap. It is Wednesday, April 21st, 2021. Guys, it's been a really exciting day. I know I didn't get a chance to do a daily recap yesterday. I apologize, guys. I had a ton of meetings and with my clients. And in this case, guys, I'm actually going to make a little longer video. I think you'll want to stay tuned. I have a lot of good information, a lot of good setups, a lot of things that I saw today that I do want to share with you guys. And as always, guys, I appreciate if you smash that like button for our channel. Definitely helps. I love the fact that you guys killed it on the last video on Tuesday's recap. And just a lot of solid setups for us today, guys. And I think you'll find the information very useful. And so overall today, SPY, guys, it retraced. We talked about it on Sunday's, scan that, we had this sort of doji candle and that we were sort of trading outside this channel. And we were really overextended from the 50-day from back here in sort of the end of March. And so we started to see that retrace. And now you can see today, we had this sort of, not necessarily an engulfing candle, but you can see that we've retraced the losses that we had yesterday in the SPY, which tracks the S&P. And so you can see it's going to give it some problems. And so the high yesterday was 415 and today it's 415 and we're about less than an hour to close. And so it was a good retrace. A lot of the stocks that have been beaten down for the last, essentially 2-3 months are, starting to find bottoms. And so it'd be really interesting to see how the market starts to take some of these all-time lows, whether it's AI, CBAC Energy. There's just so many stocks, right? We talked about Spce, which is one of the stocks that we cover. There's so many of these setups, Plug, Fcel, and so we can go on and on. And so that's what we're going to do in this video is we're going to talk about the specific setups. And so first is Apple. We talked about this, pretty much a lot, and I am going to be referring to both the daily and I'll be referring to my day trading pattern. I know I mentioned that I like to go back and forth, and so we will be going back and forth to the daily. So we mentioned on the daily on Apple that the 135 was giving it a lot of problems, and that we also had a sell the news event potentially, and so you can see that there was some type of selling pressure, and so we broke out of this consolidation at 133 and we got down here back into the 131s. Okay, and so like I mentioned before, the way I would play this personally is I'm looking for essentially what, let me change this color, I'm looking for this play right here, excuse me, is I'm looking, so we had a low here, we had a low here, and we had a top here at 127.50. We broke through it right here, and I'm simply looking for a retrace. Okay, and you can see that the 20-day is starting to plateau. We had a very strong slope, and you can see that the 50 days is flattening out. Okay, and so as the 50-day sort of flattens out, and we can see that this 20-day is going to start to slow down because of the momentum slowed down the last week on Apple, is that we're going to see some type of crossover. Okay, and so my expectation is that we're going to see essentially Apple, right, make its way kind of back here. Okay, where we had this breakout, and what I essentially expect to see is that the 50 day is going to start coming out, and so I expect to see maybe kind of testing below the 50-day, but also expect to see a bounce off the 50-day. Okay, and so on the Apple daily, it looks like a strong chart, but you had essentially a 118 buy zone at the dip buy and a 135 top, and so that's, guys, that's more than 10%. That's almost a 15% return, and so it was a solid sell. And again, wait, be patient, sit on your hands, let the stock rotate, let it sell off a bit, and let's get back to the 50-day. Let's get to an area of support. Don't just randomly buy expecting this thing to just keep going up. Buy an area of support. If it continues to go up, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You probably still have some shares because you don't have to sell everything. You can sell, I think I mentioned, a half or 3/4 of your position to rebuy at a lower case. Okay, and so that's no different, with Apple. So I still expect same game plan that we're going to trade and we're going to sell off and we're going to kind of bring it back down to the 50-day, but it's still on the bullish side. Okay, it's still completely on the bullish side, but you can see we're off the upper band, and so it's starting to cool off a bit. Tesla, just a strong stock, guys. I think we've called this, to the T again. Perfect play. I really love the way this thing was playing today. Obviously, it was way above the VWAP, which is this purple line, which is a volume weighted average price. If you're not sure what that is, it's basically just the average of what people are paying for how much volume is trading on the stock. So if it's above, it basically means people are overpaying for the stock. If it's below, it means the stock is bearish and people are paying less money than what people were obviously paying when it was above the line, which is pretty much obvious, right? Depending on where you're trading on the line. And so you can see that, guys, we're holding levels. And so if we go back again to the daily here on Tesla, look what we're doing, guys, right? What did we call? We said what? lower low, right? And then it was a higher high, a higher low, not quite a higher high, right? And so this thesis could have went down the door if Tesla went down this way and broke this level, right? Which a lot of stocks did, right? This is what Spce did to us, right? So I hate to, like, we're going to just jump around today, but look what Spce did to us right here, right? Is it didn't do that higher high, it failed, and then it ended up failing us, right? It went down the tube right here, okay? And so look what Tesla did on the daily. So look at the difference, right? So Tesla failed, but it didn't fail to make a higher low. And so that's why the thesis is still in play. And so you have the higher high, the higher low, didn't quite hit there, failed to succeed. However, it didn't fail to fail either. And then bam, we had the same thesis, the top here at 710 to 715. And so we also had a strong support that we've called on this channel at 695. And so same play, guys, is we got a great flush a couple days ago on Tesla. And you can see that the stock is just extremely strong. A lot of people are getting squeezed out, and we have an area of support, right? So again, why am I saying don't randomly buy? This is why. Look at the areas of support, guys. The 50-day. The 50-day is going to be your area of support. And so if you're adding to a position, that's where you want to buy. And remember, my short-term price target is, the 805 to 820 range, okay, where I've identified. That's where I'd like to see Tesla is short-term, and we have earnings coming out in a week, okay? And so let's just wait for that. Let's just be patient. Let me clean this up a bit, guys. Apologize, it's getting a little messy here. And so let's jump into Palantir. Palantir is the same thing. And let me just share with you guys something that I did. And we will eventually do a Discord. We will eventually do some type of program for us to all kind of stay in touch. But look what I called this out, and I'm going to go over why I called this out. Okay, so I'm in Pacific time, so this would be about 1:30 Eastern time. I had sent this message specifically to my brother, is that Palantir is setting up nicely for a break of the new highs. And now he's saying what highs, is he's referring to, we're trading at all-time lows, recent lows. And I was like, well, no, daily highs. And so 2250, if it retests, will break. And then obviously, if you guys remember the double click day or whatever it was, the demo day, we had the breakout that ended up going over $7. And so the reason why I messaged that, I want to show you guys the setup and why I personally liked it. The reason why I personally liked the Palantir play today was this right here, guys, okay? Is that you have this sort of upper resistance, which in this case is like a previous day's high. And then you have this bounce off a VWAP. And we know, if you follow day trading, again, if you're not someone who day trades and look at charts, this may make no sense to you. But Palantir always does what? It breaks the VWAP. Now, you may get a bounce, right? You may get a bounce, and it could be a short trap, right? Because there's a lot of people down here wanting to short. And then what does it do? It goes back up, okay, but we're going to expect it to fade, and it's going to fail. That's what we're waiting for. It fails every time. Everybody knows Palantir has been a weak stock. It's been always on the bottom half of the Bollinger Band, which is the bearish side of the band. It's in a tight consolidation, which, by the way, on a different topic, it's starting to fire off these red dots, which means that it is the Bollinger Band is trading inside the Keltner channel, which we talked about on previous videos, means that the market is in extreme consolidation. It is getting ready for a breakout. I mentioned before, my short-term price target on Palantir, and I'm sticking to it. I know it looks bad when something's trading at 22, but same thing, is 31.50. That's my short-term price target, is this gap fill here for whatever this consolidation it's been doing, and it's been firing off these dots. So that is where this sort of comes into play. Okay, I've talked about this indicator. I don't talk about it a whole lot, but I mentioned that's what I'm testing out, and that's what those red dots represent, is a period of tight consolidation in the market where there could be a breakout or a breakdown in either direction. We obviously have broken down for quite some time in Palantir, but on the day trade. And so we retest the highs, okay? And so again, we always talk about shorting, right? So if you're shorting here, you would have said, okay, I might give it a quarter, but if we're making all-time highs, I'm cutting my short. So assuming you didn't cover down here, you would have, said, okay, I could reshort here, and then a retest. So, more or less your stop loss would have been around this area. Look what happens. It once, twice, 3, 4, 5, it just can't break this level. So it says, okay, fine. All right, I'm going to fade back down to VWAP. It doesn't break. Goes back up. As soon as I saw this, I showed you guys that text was 1024, right? Look what I'm seeing. So around 1024, I'm looking at this. Look at this. I mean, what is this? It breaks right here. for like a brief second. It breaks and it goes right back up. And so when you see a stock is not breaking the VWAP, it is trying and it is trying and it is trying. And it's constantly just getting bought up. There's buyers, there's bidders at the VWAP that are buying this stock up, right? That's what people are doing, right? It's for sale and they're buying it back up. It's catching a bid. And so look, they try to break it. And so this setup of just constant bounces off VWAP and holding, and I'm not saying the first time, because again, I expected it to fail. It always fails. This is where I'm like, this is going to make all-time highs. And that's where I showed you that text, if you want to go back, right? 1024, as I started to see it right here. And bam, right when we started recording this video, right back here. Now you can say, well, it's close to, no, this is the new high for the day. It's 2260. You can see right here, 2260 is the new high for the day. Now we have half an hour market. Does it come back down to this level? Yeah, that doesn't matter. The point is, I'm telling you about a setup that can potentially trap shorts, right? So people who are shorting right below VWAP thinking this thing's going to fail, and then it potentially gets them up and this thing goes the other direction. And so that was a great play, guys. Great play today. And so again, with these firing the dots, with the oversold, with this thing being beaten the crap up, I honestly think that we're getting ready for a breakout for the stock. And like I mentioned before, it could be earnings, whatever the case is. 3150 is going to be my price target for that. I'm on the record for that. You guys can see me. I'm on the record for that. Spce, another stock that has been completely beaten down from the last video. I do want to mention that it was Cathie Wood that ended up selling some more shares, and so we were making daily new lows. And I've always mentioned to you guys again about the area of interest. This is the idea that you're getting a 50-day, a 200-day, an anchored VWAP, whatever that play setup is for you, that you're buying at certain levels that you're like, I don't mind owning the stock because I feel confident at this level. Well, I can't control what Cathie Wood does. And of course, first it was Richard Branson last week. Now it's Cathie Wood. So people are just selling the stock off. I was reading about that. Apparently they're charging $250,000 for space tourism for you to go up 40 miles above Earth. And again, guys, it's a stock that has been beaten down and it has a lot of potential. And so it's going to be a stock that requires a lot of, potential patience. And so I mentioned to you guys last week that I added shares at the 200-day, and then Richard Branson's news came out on this day, and then Cathie Wood's, came out. I think it was on Monday she sold, so it probably came out yesterday. But you can see now, what do we have, guys? We have a double bottom, right? We constantly have this thing where we're trading lower. So if I go back to the, again, I know I'm toggling back and forth a lot between charts, but I want to show you guys the daily, and I want to show you the daily with the Bollinger Band setup. Look, you're making lows on the bottom band. We're constantly making lows. So I always say don't add until you get confirmation, okay? This right here is a double bottom, right? And then you can see that it's engulfing the previous candle, okay? Now, what did I mention the short-term target was $25, $26 right over here. And you can see that the trend line slowly getting away from the 200-day, okay? But we mentioned that what would happen, right? We draw it out. So we had this low here, had this high, potentially a reversal, higher low, sweet, not a higher high, and then it failed this low, and now we started making new lows. And that's where this whole thing now goes from an uptrend to just a downtrend. This is a downtrending stock. However, what did I mention? That when this goes and it finds its bottom, which we thought was down here, it's going to do what? It's going to find resistance at the 200-day, which just happens to be at this area of consolidation. So the 200-day, which is about $26 or so, will still be the short-term price target for the stock that I have on my calendar. So again, when we had some bottoms here, again, I know my charts get very sloppy really quick, all right? But if you look here, the bottom here was what? 26, and that's our target. So we have all this consolidation at 26, which is the 200-day. So that's what I would expect as a short-term price target for this stock, okay? Not saying it can't come up, not saying any of that. My price target longer term is still, up, much higher. But that's what we have, and you can see that a lot of these sort of moving averages are completely disconnected. Okay, and you can see obviously negative crossover indicates definitely a lot of bearish signals for the stock. Fcel, not much to say about Fcel other than same idea, is that we have almost an engulfing pattern. We definitely have a top here, but we mentioned again 200 days a solid area to buy. If you're risking down, I think we had mentioned that there was some consolidation here at the low around $6.50 to $7, and it looks like it found some bidders and some buyers, and the volume's picking up, and we're on the RSI. We've had a ton of negative momentum in the stock, And so a lot of these plays you can see are setting up very similarly. Now Fcel isn't trading, you know, as much as some of the other stocks below 200 day, but it's a cheaper stock. It's a, you know, $8 stock, $9 stock. And so same idea, guys, is where is it going to be, you know, where is the near-term price target? I'd say, you know, 11 to 12 bucks. That's where I would say. Now, when I first wanted to start a long position, if I were in the trade and I'm not in this trade, it was because of this guy, right? Like, who cannot notice that the $10 range is where this massive sort of action happened? It started at the 10, but that completely failed this day here. Okay, so that $10 really just faded all the way down here to the 200 day. And so a lot of people are, you know, obviously upside down on the stock, and now it's starting to catch a bid. But let's see, you know, again, short term, $11 to $12. Okay, and then plug, same idea, you know, another stock, just, you know, sort of beating a dead horse here, is they're all setting up as to be the same. We got a floor here, we have an engulfing candle on this specific candle now, the previous 2 or 3 candles, and short term, you know, I think I mentioned around $30. And so same exact play. Have this bottom here, fail to succeed, right? Fail to beat this top, faded some more, possibly found the bottom here, and now what? We have the 200 day that's coming up, and it's going to be right in line, right? It's going to be within a buck, it looks like. Okay, so again, $30, $29, $30 short-term price target for plug. Okay, and so a lot of these stocks, right, they're beaten down, they've been beaten down. RSI, momentum, talk to a friend. I mean, anyone who's in these stocks can tell you they've been beaten down. And so we're starting to see signs of you know, a bottom and a recovery. Okay, and now AI, solid floor, right? What have we been saying? $60, $59 right here. Solid floor at the bottom here. And what does that mean? It means that we have a floor that we feel comfortable possibly adding shares, and it's been solid. I mean, we've had several days of consolidation. We've had some high volume days, and look at the stock on the day trading chart here. Look what it's doing. It's also firing some of these dots, which means what? Extreme tight consolidation. Look how tight this channel got. I mean, I was looking at it, I'm like, this is a really, like, you literally have to just like look close. Like, this channel's gotten so tight, and it's like, that's how consolidated this thing has gotten, right? So here's the bottom band, here's the top band. This thing is literally ready for a breakout. And so we're just waiting. It's just been negative momentum for so long, and now it's tightening up, and we're just waiting for that breakout to happen. And so just like Clover, right, where we had that false breakout and then a few days of retracement, and then it's been on a tear lately. So it's setting up to be very similar. And so the upper band, guys, is at like $70, and we've been at 70 like twice in the last week. And so this thing is really setting up nicely for a major breakout. You can see it's completely today on the upper band. I mean, it just everything was just so positive. It's been overbought on the 15-minute chart. Any chart you look at, completely above on the VWAP. And then you can see too that, you know, the volume is still low. And so the algos are controlling it, they're messing with it. But now that we're in a tight channel and we've consolidated extremely well in the low 60s, like I said, I really expect, similar to Dash, that we're going to have that breakout, and it's going to be a similar play. Okay, so with that said, guys, I really hope this video was useful. It is about 5 minutes longer than our typical video, but I did want to show you guys some setups, just some confident, you know, A+ setups that I personally liked. I had a higher conviction, which means that you could go heavier on your trading when you see stuff like that. As always, guys, appreciate any of your support if you do smash that like button. And as always, guys, if you do have any comments or questions, do post them below. I do respond to all the questions and comments on this channel, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.